Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm making a 3-tier resin cake stand. This footage is a little old, so it's interesting to be able to look back and make some comments on what I would do differently. I have my molds out and ready, and I'm starting off by mixing in my resin. I'm using craft resin, and because it's a 1-to-1 ratio by volume, I have a large measuring cup, which I'm using to measure out 300 grams of the A and 300 grams of the B. This did end up being just a little bit too much. I mixed the two parts together with a wooden stick, and I'm mixing slowly, and I'm also sure to scrape the edges and the bottom of the cup, not to leave any areas behind. I mix for around 5 minutes and then separate my resin into smaller cups to add in my pigments. I take some gold leaf flakes and carefully add some into one of my cups. This is going to be my center detail. In my next cup, I'm using this really pretty pink shade of mica powder by Resin Pro. And in that same cup, I'm mixing in their bronze mica powder as well. And for my white, I'm using Deppon's white pigment paste. I do like this pigment, however, I prefer just Resin's titanium white. I achieve better results with 3D flowers and with lacing and waves. I've also used it so much on many different projects that I know about how much I need to use depending on the effect I need. I allowed everything to sit for a little bit and came back to pour my clear resin into my molds. So I didn't end up achieving the effect that I was going for in this cake stand. I must have waited around 20 minutes, which wasn't enough, and at the time I learned from my mistakes and I tried it again with just Resin's white pigment, and I also waited a little bit longer to pour in my pigments, around 30 to 40 minutes, and that will allow for just the right amount of movement within the pigmented resin. And I ended up achieving really nice results. I didn't film that time around, but I'll include both cake stands at the end of the video so you can compare. I'm using a torch gun to pop any air bubbles, and I'm moving the torch gun very quickly to be careful that I don't burn my resin or my molds. I take my resin mixed in with the gold flakes and carefully add it into the center of the molds. Then I use the wooden stick to help adjust the placement. I take my white pigmented resin and pour it into the shape of flower petals several times around my molds. Because I didn't wait long enough, there ended up being too much movement and my white pigment sank to the bottom. And I do the same with my bronze and pink pigmented resin. It's really interesting because of factors that I mentioned previously. I ended up with a totally different effect. Too much movement within the resin caused all of the pigmented resins to shift towards the center. However, it still created an interesting effect. I go back in with a torch gun to pop air bubbles. And I use a thin wooden stick to create a little swirl in the center of the molds. I allowed that to harden and came back the next day to demold. Here's a little clip of the cake stand, which was my second attempt after adjusting the factors that I mentioned in this video, and this is more of the look that I was going for. However, both are unique and cool in their own way. I hope this video was helpful and you can learn from some of the mistakes that I made. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by leaving a comment below or a thumbs up. And if you'd like to help support my channel and our creations, consider becoming a channel member. Any support is greatly appreciated. And here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.